And I'm sure Kenny will be able to introduce himself and tell you a bit about the company and go through the project brief.
Sure, yeah, great. Oh, first of all, welcome to Science Park, everyone. Good to see you. So, Wow Stuff's a commercial toy and gift company. We've been running for about 8 years now. So, I've got a few case studies now. They're a bit out of date, and it's sort of going to be one between three, but you just get a feel for, a flavour, if you like, for what we do if you just pass it. So basically, we work in mainly in the UK, although our business now is about 50-50 with UK and overseas. So as well as all the UK retailers, Argos, Debenhams, Sainsbury's, all the usual suspects, we also supply Toys R Us in a global scale, and also we go through distributors in almost every country, so Europe, US, France, Australia, and indeed Japan's quite a big market. So what we have is we have a whole range of products. We have toys and we also have gifts. And it's always quite an interesting discussion whether it's a toy or a gift. And our simple way of doing it is we say if it's a toy if the kid has pester power. So they say, oh mum, I want that toy, that big robot thing on TV. And it's a gift if, let's say, someone's in Sainsbury's or even Debenhams and they go, oh, there you go, he likes that, that's good enough. He chucks it in the basket. So we're mainly, so actually we're split about 50-50 toy and gift, but we're moving much more towards gift in the last few years. We started off, it's worth just explaining about what we started off with. When I say gift, it's branded gifts. So part of this brief that you'll be looking at later is all about brands. You'll see here we have Mensa, the High IQ Society. We've had that brand for about 5-6 years now. It works brilliantly. Very low price points. Mensa, believe it or not, is actually based in Wolverhampton. There you go. Well, the Science Museum. This is the Science Museum Curiosities, and in a minute we'll stand up and we'll have a look around them all. That's the Science Museum Curiosities. That's a sub-brand of Science Museum. Small gadgety things that do something quite interesting. So you kind of, it's a spinner or it's a material, it's a bit of putty that does something unusual. It's kind of fun. They tend to be, the curiosities are all under £10. So price points and all this stuff is very critical, so we'll keep coming back to it. And then we have the standard Science Museum. They're more toyetic. So, you know, you have things like giant retro space hoppers. One of our inventions, and we'll talk a lot about inventions in the next little while, is a tandem space hopper. So it's a space hopper made for two. So obviously it causes all sorts of mayhem, because unlike a normal space hopper, when you're bouncing it, obviously you get the reaction. When there's two bouncing on it, you get all sorts of weird oscillations, and it's quite good fun. So that's an example of an in-house invented item that one of us just one day came up with it and thought that would be an interesting take. And the gift toy industry is so tough these days that you need innovation. Hence the reason that we're talking to you guys, we're talking with Dave. We're not, what's the word? We clearly we cannot come up with every new invention. Right? What we normally do is you have something like a space hopper, it's quite a good example, and you give it a twist, and then it's good enough to get the market share, the majority market share for that product area. So, for example, you know those LED copters, they're kind of a helicopter type thing. You just put it up, there's a catapult, it goes in there, and then it slowly whizzes back down to Earth. Yeah? So, we sell far more of them than anyone else in the UK, and simply because we put a foam tip on it. So, it's safer. So when Mum's looking in Tesco's and Sainsbury's, she goes, oh, that's good, that's clever. So now, if you get hit by it in the head, you won't lose an eye. Just a small twist like that can make all the difference. So, as we go through this brief, that's one of the things that we want you to think about. We want you, first of all, to basically choose one of these brands to look at, which area interests you. So we've got Mensa, which is anything related to intelligence. So any sort of puzzle, any sort of day-to-day item that could have a puzzle element on it or in it. That's Menson. It's a great brand for us. The curiosities, Science Museum Curiosities. We get a lot of this inspiration for this online. If you go to the likes of Grand Illusions and the website and other gyroscopic sites, you get Gyroscopes Are Us or something they call it. I don't know what they call themselves. But the point is, it's interesting spinny things that don't work on magnets, that when you do them, they do something unexpected. So that's Curiosities. And in Science Museum, well, the wonderful thing about Science Museum is it's anything is science when you when you boil it down. So a space hopper, you might think that's ridiculous, it's not a science museum, it's not really scientific, but it does have scientific principles that make it work. And on the back of the box it tells you that it exhibits scientific principles of forces, parts of the KS1 and KS2 science curriculum. So there you go, that's your science angle covered. So anything that's fun, and then with a little bit of innovation, a little twist. It's very difficult to think of a product that's a brand new product on its own. It's much easier to get inspiration from other products and think, what's that product missing? What's the thing that would make it really more fun, more, and importantly for us, more commercial, because that's what we care about, how many products we sell. Bit of fun for you. Myself and there was three of us that started the company. There's Richard, who's basically a sort of serial entrepreneur. He's done a whole load of different businesses in the past. And then there was myself and Graham. And we were students together, we had a flat together. We were actually working at university at the time. And we came up with a towel. So we were working in science, we're fishery scientists by trade. And then I came back from a trip one time and I started complaining about the towel and said, oh Graham, this towel in this guest house, it was overseas and it was really horrible. And I was describing it to him and he said, that's interesting, we should make our own towel that would like have your face here, your body, and then your feet down at the bottom. And I said, yeah, but it was the time of minimalist music and all the rest of it. And so we thought, no, it's you either dry your face with this side of the towel or other parts of your body. It's the arse face towel. And throughout the world, we've still sold more units of this than any other product we do. Ridiculously simple, but it looks great in a catalogue. In America, it's out as the butt face towel. And so visually it's very striking, and it clicks with people. They go, oh God, and you'll never use a towel the same way after you've seen that. So that's how we started out in business. But as I say, it's very, very rare that you get an idea out of the blue, which that kind of was. That's an example of a very unusual thing. What we want you guys to do is have a good look around the products just in a few minutes' time. Have a route around the products. See what area you like out of the three ranges. And then, you don't have to decide today, but then within the range, you need to go away, you need to research the range, the product offering that we've got, which you'll see on our website, and I'll give out some more information on it. So in the science area, for example, you'd look at National Geographic, you look at Discovery ranges, you look at science products in Debenhams and all the other stores are just now. Have a look what's out there and think, that's an interesting product. How can I make it better? How can we make it more commercial? That's what we're after. Then we're after you to design it up, and then do something. I know you guys, product designers and graphic designers, so we're going to make you do a little bit of graphic design, just a little bit, just to get you to understand about brand guidelines and the whole thing about brands. I mean, in our business, I'd say about 80% of everything we sell is branded. So, whether it be the Science Museum, Mensa, indeed Top Gear, Doctor Who, Britain's Got Talent, you know, we do all these brands and we do products in those brands. So branding, brand licensing is enormous in toys that you buy. So I think it's a good thing for you to understand about the discipline of doing a box that has brand guidelines, like this is always a certain Pantone colour, it's a certain ratio to the rest of the box, blah blah. And then, just to get your heads buzzing even further, we want a little bit, just investigate, have a little think anyway about toy safety. Because there's two things that we have in our business. We like to do all the creative side, and everyone likes to do that. But actually the reality is, there's two things that are issues. There's toy safety and there's intellectual property. So maybe after you have a little wander around the products here, I can talk to you a little bit about intellectual property, basically trademarks, design registrations and patents. So, is there any initial thoughts? I mean, have a good look through the leaflets. I mean, it is, apologies, it is a few years old now. You'll see Richard's got dark hair. In a close-up photo nowadays, it's mostly grey. But you get the idea. You get the kind of the feel for the company. So what we're really looking to do with this is to work with you guys, local university, and try and initiate some links to get some ideas flowing, basically, for new concepts of product. Because ultimately that's what everyone's about here. And the one thing we don't have, thank goodness, is that invented here syndrome. You know about that? That's when, it's my invention. I mean, it's just ridiculous, because a good idea is a good idea no matter where it comes from. And it's just how you exploit that. Okay. So just have a rummage around and have a play with the toys, with three things.
And while you're doing so, you can think of some really good questions.
Or Dave.
You better.